All right, Raider Nation, welcome back to Section 105 Media Network. You are watching Sideline to Sideline with Raider Homer and Oakland Raiders Savage. Man, Oakland Raiders Savage, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for this next game against the Chargers. Division rival. They got the best of us last game, and coming, right now we're on a 2-game winning streak. Took us 5 quarters, both games, but you know what? As long as the clock is still running, we still got a chance, and that's what looks like the Raiders are doing right now. And hopefully, we put away the Chargers in 4 quarters, 4 full quarters. But right now we're riding high on 2 exciting victories, 2 closeout victories. So I'm ready. Let's go.
Just win, baby. All right, Raider Nation, please follow us on Twitter at Oakland Raider Savage and at Homer Raider. You can also follow us on Facebook at Raider Homer and at Oakland Raider Savage. Please subscribe to Section 105 Media Network and share if you can. With that, let's get to our first segment, Quick Hits.
I'm a motherfucking Raider.
Here we go, Raider Nation, with our first segment, Quick Hits. In this segment, we will take a look at Josh McDaniels' interview where he was questioned about the Seahawks linebacker coming onto the field after Derek Carr threw his first interception. And then we will go ahead and take a look at a Foster Moreau interview where he talks about how he's had to come in as the next man up since Darren Waller has gone down. So with that being said, let's go ahead and listen to the first interview because I think that this really shows the NFL and the Raiders that we know that it is us versus the NFL, it's us versus the referees, and it's us versus our opponent every single week. So let's go ahead and hear Coach Josh McDaniels.
Excuse me. There was a strange moment yesterday when it appeared one of the Seahawks players joined the play from the bench. I mean, have you seen that happen before? And I guess it didn't matter to the play necessarily in the end, but how does the league talk to you guys and say, hey, sorry we missed that, or how does that kind of work?
We're the Raiders. I mean, yes, I saw the play. No, I've never seen anything like that before. I mean, I think he went out there to like celebrate, and then he ended up making a couple blocks there to try to help his buddy. They missed the call. Clearly, that should have been a penalty, but I'll leave that at that. So
What did you guys find out?
it is what it is.
What did you guys find out about it? In game or?
Oh yeah, I saw it right when it happened. I think all of our offensive players came over and said the same thing. Like 52 wasn't even on the field.
Was that your "We're the Raiders" moment though? Was that it?
I've had multiple of those. I've had multiple. I'm aware of the last 20 years relative to the statistics. So we'll see if we can change that a little bit. Thanks a lot.
All right, so as you just heard, we're the Raiders, right? Coach McDaniels knows that. We're the Raiders. A lot of journalists and talking heads, they'll say, oh, man, Raider fans, you can't take them seriously. They always feel like they're under attack. Mike Silva is one of those guys, even though he's come around to liking the Raiders, I guess, now. But, it's true. All fans see it. There was a report that came out that talked about how the referees were always screwing over the Raiders based on penalties. This is a perfect example of how a 6-time Super Bowl champion, coming from probably one of the better organizations over the last 20 years, knows and sees that we're getting screwed. We're the Raiders, right? They're not going to catch that. If the coach knows it, then the players know it. And a thing to keep in mind right here is the player, our backs are to the end zone. We're inside the 20. We're starting off the drive. The defender comes off the opposite side of the field onto the field, and our players and coaches on the opposite side of the field see it. So if our guys can see it, then the referees can certainly see it. And I think that's why you get a nice little chuckle out of Josh, and he just laughs it off and says, we're the Raiders. I think that's perfect. I love that he said that because we know we get screwed by the Raiders. We have a history, or by the referees. We have a history of being screwed over by the referees, and it continues. And hopefully, as he just said, we can change that. What's your take on this, Oakland Raiders Savage?
Well, it's funny how he said the last 20 years, 20 years ago was basically when the Patriots and the Raiders crossed paths in that playoff game. We all remember that one, the snow game. And people outside of Raiders and the Raider Nation can say, "Oh, your conspiracy theories or da 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 da." But starting from even that game 20 years ago, you know, there was a choice. Al Davis and Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft decided to have that game at the night during a snowstorm, and that right there started all this 20 years of us because we all know what happened. And then now Josh McDaniels, who's on the other side on the Patriots, the golden standard of franchises, now is coming to head coach the Raiders, and he sees that it is really 31 other teams and the Raiders. It is Raiders versus the world, Raiders versus the NFL. That he's starting to see that all these conspiracy theories that people, try to talk down that we see and experience firsthand, that he's starting to see it too. That's why he's just kind of like, this is kind of like his introduction, his baptism into the Raider culture, that, you know, it's not just us versus the other team. It's us versus the other team and the refs a lot of times. And for the Seahawks, they're true to their 12s because you had Darrell Taylor run out there after that interception and start blocking people, regardless if you're celebrating or not. 12th man on the field. But hey, Seahawks are home of the 12s. 12th man came in, no flag, must be legal over there. But hey, like you said, we're the Raiders.
Well, yeah, they needed 12 men to stop Josh Jacobs on that game or in that game. So, like I said, though, this is nothing new. Every Raider fan knows what's going on. And hopefully, yeah, we can change it, because that's got to stop, man, because I'm tired of seeing it. There's, couple plays that, like when Adams was caught that catch in the fourth quarter, his hand was being held,
Yeah.
even spotting the ball is bad when it comes to these referees, right? Because they always seem to stop us short, right? Josh Jacobs was stopped behind the goal for the first, or behind the line, and the referees just gave us a bad spot. But in a previous play, they allow the entire Seahawks offensive line to push their running back into the end zone. Like, come on, if Josh Jacobs can break tackles and get the first down, give us the spot. Because you're allowing the Seahawks offensive line to push the running back that was stopped into the end zone. But it never fails. We're always getting screwed by the refs.
Well, even like you said with the Devontae Adams catch, just the series before, the Seahawks possession right before, I want to say it was a third down. The Raiders had to stop. They had a pass. I forgot who stopped it, and they ended up throwing a flag for holding when that was within the 5 yards that the DB gets to have his hands on the receiver. They threw that flag, continued their drive, and I want to say I think they scored. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Raiders get the ball back. Devontae Adams is getting armbarred. Basically, his arm is being held, and he had that great catching on one arm on the sideline, and there was no flag. Even if there was a flag, it's going to get waved off because of the distance of the pass and the first down. But still, there was no acknowledgement of the Seahawks defender, holding on to Devontae Adams wide open on the sideline where everyone can see it. So, I mean, it is what
It
it is.
exists. And that's what Coach said, right? It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate
Yeah.
that that's the angle that we got to take, but that's the angle we got to take as Raider fans, and as the organization has to take that angle as well. So, again, we're gonna work on some things that we want to do with this channel for the viewer to be interactive. We're gonna work on an award to give to the worst referee each week. We're going to come up with some names, come up with some logos. We'll roll that out as this show continues. Now, another interview that we want to look at is an interview after the game in the locker room with Foster Moreau. In this interview, Foster talks about, him having to be the next man up and, having to fill the shoes of Darren Waller, and then having to get better to open up the offense. He's a great run blocker. He comes up in the end zone. His first year, he had a couple touchdowns, in the red zone. He comes up big sometimes. This week, he struggled a little bit, came back, played strong. So let's go ahead and look at that interview, and Oakland Raider Savage will give you his take on Foster Moreau's performance.
I got to get my head around, and it's hard. This has been a process for me learning how to handle plays like that, right? because oftentimes I get to play off of Darren, and there's obviously not much. I mean, you don't get much. There's not much adversity when doing that, right? Like I'll come in, block my butt off, and do that, right? But just continuing to try to learn how to be the best player I can without the ball in my hands, right? And making opportunities when Four gives me a chance. And I mean, it seems like every chance he gives me hits right off my chest. The guy's a great player. But it's hard, and there's a lesson in adversity, and we just got to keep growing, and I obviously got to get on the damn jugs machine.
Not a lot of room to work in the corner of that end zone. What are you thinking when you see the ball up in there?
I saw Derek rolling out, and I mean, Devontae was telling us in the huddle, he was just kind of laying it out for us what was going to happen, and he was absolutely right. So we just kind of got to keep running out the break, and I feel really bad. I took out a reporter over there, felt real bad. I didn't have much time to go check on him. I hope he's doing well. I hope he's okay.
Now in overtime, what does that say?
All right, so take it away, Oakland Raider Savage.
Well, he was talking about like when Darren Waller was active, and Darren Waller is one of the top 3 tight ends in the league. So he's saying that when he comes into the game, really he just has to block. He's a run blocker. He's a great tight end, a great blocking tight end. So he's not the main guy. So for him to go out and do a route with Darren Waller still, playing, it's like there's no adversity, because you still, you got Darren Waller there. Now that he's the guy, like you said, next man up, he is the number 1 tight end on the roster right now, covering for Waller while he's on IR. A lot of the offense is going to go through him too, because we need that tight end to make catches, especially like on, third down conversions. And he had the tip ball off his hands that caused an interception. Then he had the other one, the third down conversion, which, he could have a first down on, bounced right off his chest. Number 1 rule for a receiver is always catch with your hands, not with the chest, because ball bounce right off of those pads, the chest play of the pads. Ball can go land anywhere, and if you're not going to catch it, best case scenario would be an incompletion, because a lot of those times those balls get intercepted. So for him to continue to push and continue to just, got to have a short memory to continue to push and still go out there and try to keep that confidence that, when it's your time again, you're going to prevail this time. And Derek Carr wasn't afraid to go back to him, regardless if he had the 2 drops, the 1 interception and the 1 drop on third down, he still went to him on an even more difficult pass to try to catch on the back of the end zone. And like what they asked him, difficult in the back of the end zone, not a lot of room to run. He made that catch, got the feed in, took out a reporter, but that tied the game. Towards the end of the game, that tied the game. Is a very crucial score that got us into overtime. So for him to continue the confidence and Derek Carr to still go back to him, that's a good confidence booster, and that could help him out for this following game if Waller is not cleared to come back. I think Waller's supposed to be coming back this game, right?
Well, we'll take a look at the injury report at the end of this episode so we can clarify all that. But regardless, I think that this is a great example of pride and poise and a commitment to excellence. He could have let his head down and not been able to play anymore. Derek Carr did the same thing, 2 interceptions and came back. But Foster, he's got a big shoes to fill. We need that tight end position to be great, especially in the AFC West. They always have great tight ends in the AFC West, so we need to be able to match that. And Foster's doing a great job. Like I said, this team has battled injuries over the last several years. So we just need to get away from that injury bug and or find the players like Foster Moreau who could step up when our starters, have to take a break or, deal with injuries. And, Foster did what he's supposed to do. And I'm happy for him, because, I was able to meet Foster, so you're always happy for these players, and especially when they help the team win. So if you have any final thoughts, we can go ahead and get to that, or just wrap up quick hits and get to instant replay.
Well, it's like, like Al Davis said, just win, baby. One of the things he had told Jim Plunkett a long time ago was it's not a matter of how good you play. It's a matter if we win. So it doesn't matter if you make many mistakes. I mean, it does matter, but as long as you're able to make that play at the crucial moment when needed to make the difference in winning and losing, that's all that matters is that W, that game in the win column.
Just win, baby. All right, moving along. All right, Raider Nation, welcome to Instant Replay. In this segment, we are going to take a look at the Raiders versus the Seahawks overtime thriller where Josh Jacob had the game of his career. Unfortunately, though, as we just talked about, this game did not start off very well, and Raider Nation was upset. But again, Derek Carr held it, came back together, held it together, kept it together, came back, and started playing well. We all remember the first interception as we talked about. After that, the Seahawks strike quickly. Now, shortly after that, the next play or the next drive, the Raiders start to bounce back. And this is what I like about the Raiders. They are resilient. You know, Derek Carr is resilient. And he has the ability to inspire the team to be resilient because they all know he can come back. And we did just that in this game. Now, in the next drive after the first interceptions, Matt Collins comes up with a big 20-yard catch. All right, I love this catch. It was on 3rd down and 4. Matt Collins is going to be my X factor in the upcoming game, so we're going to kind of spotlight him a little bit. So let's go ahead and take a look at the play and see what happened. You see that they are in cover 2. The Seahawks are in cover 2. So the Raiders are going to run a simple flood route down here, right? They flood. The guy goes up. Hollins comes up with the first down. Right here, you know, this guy, he wasn't sure where to go. He was supposed to come with Hollins, but Hollins got open. Now, Hollins is a big target, you know. So I think this is going to be a great game for him coming up. Starting right there, he really kind of got into the game, got the offense settled down, picked up that first down, you know, and then after that, we're able to score. We'll take a look at the score here in a minute, but first let's take a look at the offensive line. Right here as we go, Derek Carr is really good at staying in the pocket. I know a lot of people want to see him run, but he's really good at staying in the pocket, delivering the ball, and taking hits. Right here in this play, you're going to see 3 things, I should say, that I don't like. The first, the snap on the wrong side of Derek Carr. That takes time, and we'll look at that soon enough. After that, James puts his hand out, but he never looks to the right if you watch this play. And I think you're correct in your analysis. This guy's pulling 64 over.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's not. But he ran out. See?
Well, yeah, because the inside tackle, the D tackle initiates that cross for the defensive end to come around because they're trying to cluster up the tackle and the guard to basically keep that, make a hole open for the defensive end to come in and just have a clean rush at Derek Carr.
Right. And see, this is where Barr needs to, you know, switch over, but maybe that is where he was getting held. It kind of looks like that, right?
Well, you could tell he was fully engaged with them.
Yeah.
You can't really see if he's being held in because those plays are kind of hard to see when you know, clustered up inside the line. But Barrs needs to get off that block or get off that man to protect the inside because, as they tell us, offensive linemen, the closest route to the quarterback is inside, and he almost got, you know, that split second that Carr stayed in there to throw that pass. You know, one more second, that could have been a sack or worse.
Right. And it would be nice to see James a little more alert on this slant right here, on this stunt. So let's see the play. Wow. Look at that. Wow, he gets drilled. And we still get the first down. So Matt Collins is going to be my X factor in the upcoming game. So I picked out a few plays from Hollins that I wanted to show. I mean, this is why Matt Collins has the ability. You know, he had a great game against the Titans. He's been, you know, average since then, but he's been coming on strong the last couple of weeks. I expect him to have a huge game. The Chargers are not going to be looking towards him. They're going to want to shut down Josh Jacobs and Adams. So expect Hollins to have a big game coming up this week. Now, right here, we're going to take a look at the first touchdown pass of Derek Carr. And this is a simple wheel route. But I love that Derek Carr has the patience to let this route develop, right? And Quandre Diggs is covering the route, who just got an interception, and Derek Carr is not afraid to go right back at him and scores a touchdown for the Raiders. So let's take a look real quick. Look at that. He just stands there in the pocket. Great play. You know, I know. Look at that. See, right there.
Yeah,
Let's see,
the
right
offensive
there.
line did a little better at zone blocking,
Right. They
pass
bars
protection.
pass them off.
Yeah,
Looks for the other defender that's coming in. Picks up the blitz. Illuminor is actually doing pretty good. He struggled early on, but he's actually doing good. Now, right here, one thing I would like to see is Parham come right here and smack the shit out of this guy. You know, Parham is young, though, but we're just going to have to be patient with him. He is playing pretty well, but it would be nice to see Parham come off and smack him.
I think if they have a more consistent lineup, they're not doing the, changing out the tackles here and there, doing rotation with the guards. Now that they kind of have their set five, as of now for this season, hopefully the communication between all five so they can start playing in unison and knowing when to check on each other will start to develop more as we go along this season because it seems like they're, like you said, Luminor's playing better because we were like, put the other, I forget who his backup was, but put him in because Illuminor, we know what he's about and he's not that good. But it seems like now that he's comfortable, he's now the permanent right tackle, the starter. He's starting to kind of, come into form and being serviceable for this offense. Not letting guys beat him like he was doing in the beginning of the season. So that's good. I like how the line is forming the pocket. James needs to, start getting the upper body strength because he's
Right.
getting stood up a lot from the nose tackle. Bull rushers are hard to defend. I remember when I used to play high school, I was a small guy playing left tackle, and I can block anything else. A bull rushing, once they get under your pads and drive you up,
Yep.
you're going for a ride right into your quarterback.
Right. Yeah, he does definitely need to hit the weight room, but and work on his snaps a little bit, But I mean, all in all, he's serviceable. So another thing I want to point out, a lot of people want Carr to run, but the fact that Carr is brave enough and has enough poise to stand in that pocket like that when it's collapsing, he can feel James falling in on him. He's got this guy right here in front of his face. So that's a lot of pressure. A lot of quarterbacks run right there. You might see somebody try to take off up the middle right there, and this guy's just going to reach out and grab him. But Carr stays put, delivers a nice ball. Wow. Boom. Touchdown Raiders. This is a resilient offense. We were supposed to score a lot of points, so not doing too terrible, lingering right around top 10, but we could definitely do better, and that's going to come with better offensive line play. So let me get back over here to the full play-by-play. After we score the touchdown to bring it up to 7-7, the Seahawks have to settle for a punt. They had a few plays, but then on the next play, on the next drive, Derek Carr, we'll see. He doesn't even really look anywhere else. He wanted to go to Foster Moreau from the start, and the linebacker did not bite. This is the play where Moreau was talking about being resilient, getting his head around, though. Simple cover 2, man. See? And that linebacker never bit. He never bit. Look at him right there. He never bit. And Carr, you could say he was looking at Adams. Adams might be his first read. But this guy knew that Adams was going to be double teamed, and he never bit. He stayed with I want to say Waller, Moreau for the whole time. Derek Carr, they're spying him, and Moreau just can't come up with it. Great play though, and Quandre Diggs comes up with the deflection. Great play by the linebacker.
Interception.
Right, sorry, my bad. Excuse me. Thanks. But here we go. Let's take a look at the offensive line right here. Play action did nothing. Right here, though.
Yeah,
So you see Barrs still having a hard time. They're collapsing this pocket, and Barrs still can't get, we'll see what happens. But he can't, it just seems like, he was late on that. Awareness, right? I think a lot of times it's the awareness with the offensive line. But look at this. Look how they move, though. Look how Parham comes out here. Oh, wrong way. Parham comes up here to set it out, the seal block, make it look like they're running, right?
Mm-hmm.
Luminor comes in, crashes down. I mean, it wasn't bad protection. Carr just, I mean, they made a
No,
good
it
play.
just that linebacker just kept himself with Moreau. I don't even think he saw the play action. He was just stuck on Moreau to cover him.
Yeah, it looked like it. He may have looked real quick towards Adams, but he was going towards the middle or to the middle to Moreau. All right, after that, the Seahawks score a field goal to take it 10-7. Then we go 3 and out. Then the Seahawks the ball into the second quarter and they kick for a 34-yard field goal to make it 13-7. And again, we talked about Matt Collins being the X factor in the upcoming game. He had a hell of a game in this game too, I thought. We'll take a look at the next play, Derek Carr's touchdown to Matt Collins to answer and take the lead. What is that? 3 single high. Yeah, look at that. So it's single high. Right? Yeah, single high. And they bid on the run too. This was great, but 93 almost blew this up. Parham and James, they got to get in the weight room and get that upper strength because these big boys for the Seahawks were pushing them around. But right here, I was like, no, oh, yeah, oh my God. I remember just being so excited. I mean, I've always wanted to see the Raiders do a successful flea flicker. I know they have in the past, but it's rare. But this one I love seeing it every time. But this one almost got blown up. Look at that, 93 just ate him up. But look, see, right there, who is this guy? James. He does good coming off and getting to the next level, though. Or looking at the next level.
He was able to engage both defenders.
Yeah.
To hold on time.
Small stuff like that really matters, man.
Yeah, like they used to teach us in football or in high school, like, just engage him, just get in his way. Because we just in that split second or that second just to get in his way. Everybody else would play off of you. And that's what James did. He got the nose tackle contained, and then he went to go just get in the way of the other tackle trying to come up. But yeah, Parham, he got blown up. I don't know if he was trying to really just if he was really just trying to sell and he just got beat and he was trying to just hold him up enough, to keep him back. But yeah, I think in time, now that they kind of got their permanent positions, they'll get all that cleaned up. That was a close play. I think Jacobs, saw that, and I don't know if he threw it early because you see, Carr kind of just had to flip it. I don't know if they were going to try to go deep, but because of I'm assuming that was Devontae Adams that cleared out the whole back end. Of the defensive backfield that left the middle wide open. And us Raider fans, we know, like, for us, our defense, our middle of the field is always left open. So for us to take advantage of another defense and have that middle left open to have who was that, Hollins?
Yeah, Hollins.
Who scored that? Yeah, to basically just catch that ball and just walk right in. I mean, without looking at the line, that looked like a clean design play, but there was a lot of stuff that had to get adjusted on the fly, and they worked out in our favor. Scored 7.
All right, so now at this point, we got the lead 14-13. And on the next possession for the Seahawks, my man, the 52 that we want to see on the field comes through. Watch him right here. Watch how he drops back and lurks. Look, they were trying to do the deep crossing routes. He interrupts that crossing route, but he has no moves. And I thought he almost got leveled right there. I was worried about that. I got scared for a second. Let's take a look at our defense. You can see Max right here collapse the pocket. Gino really, he didn't have a whole lot of space. He could have snuck through here, but I think the defensive line did a good job of, pass rush discipline, as Coach McDaniels calls it. And Perryman's right there for it. Look, see, get down. Wow, man.
And yeah, what's cool about that play is, Perryman, who is a self-proclaimed, he says that I'm not good at pass coverage. You know, he's more of a run stopper guy, but for him to get that interception, you know, when two men are two receivers are running at him trying to cross, and he's right there, that third guy right in the middle to get the interception. I mean, you know, when a team is making plays, everyone's making plays, and Perriman, like I said, who self-proclaims that he's not a good pass defender, came up with that interception, and I was hoping he would take it to the house, but hey, we got some good field position out of it too.
Yeah, well, he definitely provided a spark. We just gave up 2 interceptions. We were able to bounce back, at this point. But then, yeah, he shifts the momentum, and because the following play is one of the greatest runs I've ever seen from a Raider running back, and I'm a Bo Jackson fan. But this run by Josh Jacobs was probably even better than the 86-yarder, because the 86-yarder, he was clear the whole time. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But I love this 30-yard touchdown run on the ensuing play. Right? Let's see. No, I think. Yeah, on the ensuing play, Josh Jacob answers. He delivers, I should say. Look at this, though. Look at this, man. All of our guys get out there. And I love the way that our guys set this up. Right? You see Illuminor run out. He stays with his guy. No. Yeah, you see Illuminor run out. See? He chips, gets to the next level.
Yeah.
Hollins pushes this guy, the contain, out of the way. Bars actually stays with his guy, and you see Miller staying with his guy. All right. See, Illuminor sets, and they set this whole wall right here, giving Josh the option to cut back. Which is why it was important for Miller to stay with his guy. The only one that got beat, you can see Moreau blocking well up here, keeping his guy out of the play. Parham got beat right here, though, but Josh Jacobs comes with just one hell of a stiff arm. Look at that shit. Man, I've never seen. I thought he was going to get creamed right here. I mean, Jacobs is a small guy compared to this guy. This is the guy that's pushing around Parham. A stiff arm to the face, gets through there. Our guys are still blocking. Look at that. Look at James. This is a great block by James. Gives him a little bitty crease. He gets right through there. Man, that's blocking 101 right there. I love seeing it. The Hogs. See,
Yeah, you see them forming that wall
right
for
here.
Jacobs to run right through.
And like I said, Miller's right here. Look at Moreau. Still playing,
Yeah.
And Jacobs comes right here. Wow.
Yeah, Jacobs got some mean cuts. You just get him out in the open, he'll find a way to get around these guys. He's already thrown some guys with that stiff arm the last couple of games, embarrassing these defenders.
But see, right here, here's the one that James. This is the one that kind of springs the rest of it, because James comes off his block, right, and he clears the way, because that's where Jacobs was able to sneak through right there. Great block.
Yep, always going to the next level.
Boom. Staying with your guy. Boom. Touchdown Raiders. Josh Jacobs, man. Everybody's like, do we pay him? Pay him. I think this is one guy you got to pay. You can say running backs are a dime a dozen, but Derrick Henry's not a dime a dozen. Josh Jacobs is not a dime a dozen. You know what I mean? Some of these running backs are not a dime a dozen. And, they always look for the big three, right? You could say that, Carr, Adams, Max, Crosby, those are big three. But if you keep Jacobs, then you got the big four, and five, because you got Waller. I mean, I think it's crucial to keep Josh Jacobs, and I think he's earning it with runs like that. He's helping out the offensive line. And the offensive line is just getting better and better. So
yeah, and then with Jacobs, I mean, he got his 5th-year option declined, and he could have just been like, whatever, like they say on the radio, have a Le'Veon Bell situation. Just trade me. I don't want to be here. Just trade me for not gonna whatever. So for him to keep running as hard as he is, even during this game, he was questionable with that calf injury, and it didn't look like he had a calf injury the way he was running and scoring touchdowns. So he's still playing with heart. He knows that he has to be the example, that he has to help carry this offense, regardless of the contract situations or whatever. It's all about the game, and he's playing he's playing for his teammates right now. So that's all I like too. It doesn't matter hurt, injured, contract, whatever. He's gonna go out there when he steps on that field. He's about making plays, and that's good. And we need to keep him too.
Yeah, one way or the other. Hopefully, we can re-sign him. I can imagine Carr restructuring his contract. If not, you gotta sign this guy, put him on the franchise tag, something. We gotta keep him. Now, in the next possession, the Seahawks go all the way down and score a touchdown to bring it to 21-20 Raiders. And then on our next possession, Foster Moreau comes through again. So does Matt Collins. But we're stopped, just in the red zone. We got to get better at this, right? We're in the red zone, and we have to settle for a 36-yard field goal. We'll just take a quick look at these. Because I like Carlson. I like looking at the guy kick. Seabass was a great kicker, but sometimes he was cardiac Seabass. But I think even though he missed a field goal at the end of this or in overtime, he's more reliable than Seabass on these long field goals. Don't at me, Raider Nation. I'm just saying, So we extend the lead 24-20 with the Carlson field goal, and then we go into halftime with the 24-20 lead. Coming out of halftime, the Seahawks answer with the 14-yard touchdown. And then we answer. We move the ball again into the red zone, but we had to settle for another field goal. Something that we got to get away from. But again, we went to overtime, so sometimes you got to remember that these are important points. It would just be nice to get the touchdown and not have to go into overtime. But these are important points, and we can talk a little bit more about that last kick, or the one kick I think in the fourth quarter here in a little bit. Now here we are with the 27-27 tie. The Seahawks, our defense forces the Seahawks to a 3-and-out. Then we had to punt again. It's neck and neck into the going into the fourth quarter. Everybody's getting stressed out. But then in the fourth quarter, we finally have a Chandler Jones sighting. But this was gift wrap. This is kind of irritating to see, and this was his only stat, in the stat line. But this is the Chandler Jones fumble recovery. Our second turnover. We basically negated the turnover battle at this point. But what you can see, this is what's going to worry me if you pay attention to this play. It was gift wrap. It was gift wrap for one thing. Okay, because Geno saw that he should have kept the ball, and he was about to run, but that's where the confusions had happened, and he was able to fall on it. Look right here. This is a better example. Right? See, Geno sees that Chandler Jones loses contain. That is driving me crazy. You know what I mean? Like you see Max still holding contain. He's getting much better, getting ready to lean out a little bit more. That drives me nuts, man. But he was gift wrapped for him. That's his only stat line. We needed. Thank God he was quick enough to jump on the ball. Because we needed that. Negated the turnovers. That's something that our defense is doing a lot better now. Is forcing turnovers. They're still. It was a 34-40, so our defense is still giving up points. But if you can come up with turnovers and at least negate the turnovers that we have, it really makes a difference.
Well, yeah, like you said with Crosby, you'll see it if the tackle was to crash down. Crosby does follow him, but he has his arm on. He has one arm driving him and the other arm, the outside arm, free for anyone that comes outside. The ends are supposed to contain the C gap.
Right.
And it's like with Chandler, if the tackle comes down, he goes with him, but he's too engaged with that tackle that leaves that open for a swing or the quarterback to just run around him, and now he's too far away to make that tackle. So, that's defensive end 101. Even if the tackle comes in, you're supposed to just replace or if the tackle blocks down, you're supposed to replace where he's at and stay there and contain, not go along with him. You're just making the offensive line's job easier, and you're leaving that outside containment open.
Yeah, and Herbert loves, running to his left. So we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. Now, after we recover the fumble, we were driving the ball just a little bit, in our own territory, though. We have to go forward on 4th and 1, and a lot of people are upset about this. Why didn't we just go forward? Why didn't Derek Carr do the QB sneak? We'll take a quick look at this 4th down attempt. Oh, let me get back out of there. That is the wrong. Here we go, Raider Nation. Now, see, this is maybe this is. We'll just look at it from up here. We'll take a closer look. But 57 blows this up. Now, this is a perfect, time to present the first Aspera award. But we'll just develop that for a second before we do that. See, well, we were talking about hooking. Like, watch 93 right here. See how that arm is right there? He hooked James because James is trying to get out to 57. Which, where I'm at is why didn't Parham try to get out here? So I think there may have been a little bit of confusion right there, right? But you can see that the 93 hooks him, and they're engaged, and that's what leaves the gap wide open for 57. And 57 bumps right through there and blows this up. Now you say why? They were damn sure expecting the run. So I don't know why you wouldn't have ran it up the middle, but you see here he's right there in that A gap where we like to run. So, I mean, it was probably a call at the line of scrimmage where Carr felt like, look, they're about to come in, we got to go out, but they blew it up, and it helped. 93 really helped make that play happen. And then he got over there and got involved in the tackle.
Plays like these or situations like that, that's when you miss like a Zach Crockett type of running back that can just get the ball and just basically lean forward and he'll get those 2 yards. When I saw this, I was so confused on why would you pitch out or have a run play that starts off 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage because you're pitching it back to the running back. If you only need, it was only it was like a half a yard they needed.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna do something, if you're not gonna do the quarterback sneak, which is your better, percentage play, I would have thought then why not like some kind of play action rollout.
Right.
I always go back to this one play. Rich Gannon was when he was quarterbacking for the Raiders. They were in Indianapolis and they were in the red zone, and I think they needed a first down. There was still room enough to get a first down instead of a touchdown, and they all the defense stacked up the box, and Gannon play action rolled out. They went after the running back, and Gannon just walked down the left side to the pylon and scored. And I've never seen that play ran again. And I'm like, that's a play that they don't, especially with Carr not being considered a running quarterback. I mean, you could have did something like that or some kind of like play action if you're not going to have Carr go up the middle to get those extra 2 inches. So that I think was just a bad play to call for that situation. Hopefully, McDaniel sees that and like, okay, because there was some other 4th down plays that we've done in the last couple of games where you're like, I love the aggression,
right?
But have a smart play called, for that.
And I would
be reckless with it.
Yeah, I would love to see Carr either QB sneak or roll out. I don't know why they don't roll out with Carr. He's not a true running quarterback, but he can run. But you have to design it for him. We should definitely do more rollouts. I agree with that. Now, after that, the Seahawks, they take the lead with 5:37 to go, 34-27. All the Raider Nations, their hearts are broken. We figure, here we go again. But Derek Carr, you should know now that with Derek Carr, you're never out. And Derek Carr takes the team all the way down the field. And this is the play that we were talking about with Foster Moreau's interview, where because Moreau had a tough game early on, stuck in there, kept blocking, made some catches to help the team, and then makes this great catch at the end of the game to help us tie it. So right here, Adams is right here, right? So this guy bites down just enough, right? They're double teaming Adams. And that's what I guess he said, watch, they're going to double team me and you're going to be able to sneak around. I bet that's what Adams told him, and Carr was waiting for it. And it happened. See, he bites down just enough. Because Moreau is much faster than any linebacker, for sure. We'll take a look at the offensive line right here. Snap on the
And
wrong
part,
side again. He needs to
I was gonna
fix that.
say, probably with Devontae Adams, knowing that, especially with the couple of drops that Foster Moreau had, that they probably weren't even really considering him. They're probably thinking like car's not gonna throw it, so he'll probably drop it again, and they're probably more focused on Devontae Adams. He's always gonna get double teamed.
Yeah.
So for him to clear out that area for Foster Moreau to come out on the right side for that catch over there towards the pylon. I mean, he it's kind of like backyard football. You drew it up. I'm gonna get these guys out the way. You're gonna be wide open. Just it's coming to you.
I mean, not only is he a great receiver, he's a great decoy. But so we pick it. So here we go with the zones again. 77's getting ready to stunt. But look at that. Parham picks it up right there. Oh, he sees it. See, this offensive line is getting much better. I think we're going to do a hell of a lot better against the Chargers this time. But yeah, and then so our offensive line gives Carr the pocket. Carr rolls just enough. Boom. I'm telling you, roll Carr out to the right, and he's good. I'd love to see more of that. I would love to see more of that. So after that, we are able to hold the Seahawks, get the ball back. We kneel it to go into overtime. So in the first possession of overtime, we move the ball, but we go for this field goal right here. Oh, no. You know what? Let's go ahead and take one more look, though, at the last. This is an important play. So when the Seahawks, this is another thing we need, our defense to come through. Yes, we got the turnovers and things like that. This didn't necessarily, look. We needed Max to come through, and he did at this point. Not only do we get interceptions, are we getting game-tying touchdowns, now we're getting game-closing sacks from Max Crosby, and that's huge. I love this.
Yeah,
I
for
love
someone
Max.
that doesn't really get too much help. I mean, he's
All right.
basically the only man wrecking that
Oh.
whole offensive line.
And he did. He bull rushed right through 72 and got it. We needed it right there. Look at Max come off the line. Whap, 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 whap. Bull
Yeah,
rush.
see right there,
Boom.
lowest man wins. If you can stand that guy up, you can drive him anywhere you want.
Anywhere
You can
you
drive him
want.
right into their quarterback.
And so, you remember Mayock talking about how he had to get stronger. I'd say he got stronger. It was a huge play. Huge play. He makes another play coming up, too. When you got guys like that doing what they're supposed to do at the end of the game, it works. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the first drive of overtime. We move the ball well. Unfortunately, Daniel Carlson misses the field goal. This is something that he's used to doing well, kicking these long field goals. It goes wide right. And yeah, Raider Nation is like, oh, God, here we go again. But this is football. You know what I mean? So you play the whole game, throughout the game. Right? And on the next possession, Crosby he closes it down again. And we'll take a look at that real quick, move on in this segment. See, Gino this should have been a sack, but it was, they said incomplete. But, sometimes sacks, you don't need a sack. Sometimes you just need that pressure. And he got it. Boom. Made him throw it away. Perfect. Exactly what we needed. Seahawks are driving. Looks like the game is almost over. We're going to lose. But no, the defense comes up. The big play. Now, the play that everybody wants to talk about.
Well, hold on. I
Josh
was going to
Jacobs.
say, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say that defensive stop. I mean, that's very crucial because we had the ball first. All they have to do is go into field goal range
Kick a field
in the
goal.
game, and they were close. They were passing their the 50-yard line. So for Max Crosby to get that on third down, to get past that tackle, and wrap his arms around him enough for him to throw that ball, just to I mean, that was very crucial because we needed to score a touchdown just to end the game. All they needed was a field goal. And for him to come in there and close that out, I mean, that was a very crucial play because they were close to field goal range. And that would have been more, here we go again.
Yep. But we did that. We were successful on the very next play, the walk-off. This is a great play. We'll look at the offensive line here in a second. But look at Jacobs. Boom. I only had to worry about one guy, and he's gone. 27 tries to make a a run for it, but nah, you're not catching Jacobs. Great play. Great win for the Raiders. Let's look at the offensive line real quick. Foster first, right? Boom. Tough game. Gets out there. Seals him. Boom. Johnson
And
runs
Johnson,
out. Boom.
yep,
And
stands
Illuminor.
up his guy.
Illuminor gets his guy too. Wide open gap. Gets on the right shoulder. Jacobs picks that gap. Hollins is out here doing his work. I'm telling you, Hollins is an X factor in this next game. Hollins out there doing his thing, and Jacobs has to make one guy miss.
And see,
Gone.
that's one thing that a lot of blocking from receivers is so underrated because that's that next level. And if a receiver gets a good block like Hollins did, it can result in an 86-yard game-winning walk-off touchdown.
Look at him.
So that's one thing like Devontae Adams pitches too. Like blocking is just as important as catching the ball. And Hollins over here, he got in front of his guy and occupied him enough for Jacobs to come around and run past him. All you had to do was just get off of that one block. I mean, that one potential tackle, and he's off to the races. I remember when I seen him get past that next level, I knew he was gone. I knew he was gone. We were celebrating over there at the little bars watching the game with my mom, and I knew it. I knew it because the way he just ran straight forward, and it just seemed like the defenders couldn't catch up to him. Right when he passed that 30-yard line, I knew he was gone.
Yeah.
Game over.
As soon as I saw Hollins out there, I was like, it's over. He's gone. I did
The
too.
only
I
thing
felt
we're
it.
worried about, is there better not be no yellow flags on the field.
God, man. All right, cool. So we'll go ahead and we're going to wrap up this segment and get to the next segment, which is us going behind enemy lines. Here we go, Raider Nation, behind enemy lines. In this segment, we will take a quick look at what the Chargers did in their previous game versus the Cardinals and just talk about some of the concerns that we have. We don't want to celebrate these assholes too much, so we won't look too much into what they do, but we are going to go behind enemy lines. Now, the first play that I got up right here is something that I'm really concerned about that we talked about previously in some of the other segments, right? The number one concern I have is Herbert likes to run. As soon as contain is broken, he will run. And he will run to his left, and he is deadly throwing to his left. And, of course, Chandler Jones, as you saw when Geno tried to pull that ball back and fumbled, completely committed to the running back and didn't even worry about the quarterback. So I'm concerned that Herbert's going to be looking to run towards Chandler Jones's side of the ball. So we'll take a quick look at this, and then we'll hear from Oakland Raiders Savage. This is a 15-yard scramble that set up a touchdown versus the Cardinals, and this is what we don't want to see when it comes to the Raiders. See, look to the left side of the screen, 41. He loses contain right there, and they left him a big wide hole right there, and Herbert just runs. This is something that has killed us in the past too. Matt Ryan ran for 40 yards when we lost
39, 40 yards.
So, I mean, we cannot afford to do that. Our defense has to get better at plays like this. Now, what would you like to say on that scramble?
I mean, in a way, the defensive end helped the tackle, with his job and left that, like you said, that wide open lane for Herbert to just run to his left and get 2 yards away from the end zone. So, I mean, that's probably not what it was designed to do, but it worked for him. And if Chandler Jones, I mean, they're gonna go after if he stays on the defensive right side, which is Herbert's left offensive side, and he doesn't stay, if he doesn't keep that containment, it's gonna be a long day for Chandler Jones and the Raider defense if Herbert's gonna keep going to his strong side for his game, which is the left side. And plays like that could happen if there's no containment on that side.
And so that play led to this touchdown. We're gonna have to, as a defense, we're gonna have to watch the flats in the red zone too. They love doing that. You'll see. There's a couple of plays. They run Allen out there on the flat. Patrick Peterson couldn't get there. That's just too easy. Too easy. Hopefully our defense can do much better than that in the red zone. Another player that I'm concerned about, I think we should keep our eye on, of course, everybody knows, Derwin James just got paid. Highest paid safety, I believe, ever. Definitely this year. And this is why he got paid. You'll see him drop back. He's down here, number 3, on the best receiver that they have, Hopkins. Contested catch, comes up with the interception, turns the game around. You know, in this game, the Chargers are trailing. You know, the Cardinals are playing well. But then Derwin James comes up, and you see Mac putting on pressure. This is something we've seen way too many times. You know, Mac putting pressure on the Raiders, and then, you know, the Raiders messing up. So we don't want to see that this game, because in the last game, that's all we saw. And we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. You got any thoughts on Derwin James?
I mean, that was a very athletic catch he had made over Hopkins. We just gotta be able to, well, as long as as long as we have our good protection, and like you were saying with Khalil Mack, that could rush throws if he's coming in there and busting through. We just got to make sure that our line holds up, because if our line holds up and the receivers can get open, I don't really, you saw like on the last on the Seattle game, uh, um, Diggs had them 2 interceptions, but Carr still went towards that way, and Carr was successful too. So I'm just more worried if the line can hold up Mac, we can do some damage too.
All right, so we'll take a look at Herbert's second touchdown pass. Again, I believe he rolls to the left on this one. Yep, I'm telling you, he loves to run to the left. And look at that throw, wide open. Now, there's a similar play that we're going to look at here in a minute from the last game that was almost the same play. But this is his bread and butter right here. Running outside the pocket and throwing to an easy target, you know. We cannot do that. We have to know as a defense that he wants to run to the left and throw. We got to protect that big time.
And I don't know if it's because Herbert's a right-handed quarterback, so that's considered his backside, and that the defense is not really focusing on that backside. But the last plays that you've shown, he's gone towards his backside, which is the left. And we can't let guys run free on that backside on Herbert's left side, because that's where he's going to be finishing his plays off if nothing on the other side. He looks to be successful, like you said, stepping to the left, throwing to the left, running to the left. That's where he likes to go to. We need to make sure that backside is contained, and that is Chandler Jones in that area to keep him boxed in. So that's going to be a tall order for Chandler Jones, who only has still 1/2 a sack on the season.
Yeah, and a fumble recovery.
And a gifted fumble.
Yeah.
And a gifted fumble recovery. Yep.
So, I mean, if anybody, hopefully, I'm calling for Hollins to be an X factor, but hopefully, Jones can be an X factor in this game. Let's take a look at Herbert's third touchdown pass, because it's not always to his left. You know what I mean? So we don't want to get lulled into that, but we have to protect against the left, because he can roll out right too. And as I said, he loves to attack the flats in the red zone, especially on the goal line, because he had 88 wide open. If you go back and look at that, 88 was wide open. But he's looking to the flat. So we got to be smart in the flats, but not leave anything open in the middle. Is what I'm hoping for.
We just got to get pressure on him, because he is also a hurting quarterback. He has damaged cartilage in his ribs.
Right.
So if Max Crosby can get in there and just get that one good shot into his midsection, or hopefully maybe some of the interior men can come in and get some, make some disruption down there in the middle. We just got to get one good shot on him, and, we can at least keep him from making these kind of athletic plays, because he's been hurting all season, and we just got to get him down hard real good, and we can probably take over this game on the defensive side.
Yeah, because this touchdown pass was the game-tying touchdown, or in the final drive, a comeback touchdown, and they go for 2 to win the game. So this team is never down and out, you know what I mean? And it's always competitive when it's the AFC West versus the AFC West, especially when it's the Chargers, because they are a high-powered offense. So we'll take a look at this 2-point conversion, because I was watching Locked On Chargers to do a little bit of research on the team, and they were talking about how they've seen this play a couple of times. And so this play, I felt it was important to kind of keep an eye on, see if you recognize it or if we might recognize it in this upcoming game. But this is the 2-point tying conversion or game-winning 2-point conversion. But you'll see that, I mean, it's just, I don't know what they call this route, but he just comes out here, fakes outside, because they know that they like to go into the flats and they attack the middle. So, everybody's looking to the right because they feel like they're going to go attack the flats, but then, boom, hooks right back in. He hooks right back in there.
Little quick slant.
Yeah. But, so, I mean, the Chargers, they're definitely not an easy out, and it's going to be tough. Now, we can take a look at this play from week 1 where he runs to the left versus us, runs to the left and throws a touchdown. A contested touchdown, but still, this is what we got to avoid, and this is what I'm talking about. Some of y'all might remember this play. There's Chandler Jones supposed to be out there, but on this one, Abram loses contain. And he goes wide out there, one-on-one, and wins with Kelly. So you look at this right here. We'll look at this. You see Abram. He loses contain right there. I don't know what Chandler Jones is doing out there. He must be spying. So I get they may realize. So it looks like they realize that he likes to run to his left. But Chandler Jones got to be a little bit closer in there, right? A little more aggressive, I think.
I mean, yeah, like all it looked like he just did was engage on him and just waited.
Yeah.
Look how far back he is away from the quarterback.
Yeah, no. I don't like that at all. I mean,
And
single high safety, it looks like. That's terrible.
And I know there's some defensive calls where you have Chandler Jones going back to, in coverage, and I saw a couple where Crosby has gone back to coverage. I know these are like the exotic formations and assignments that Patrick Graham brings, but my opinion, Chandler Jones, Max Crosby, their game is rushing the quarterback, and I don't want to put too much on Chandler Jones, like too much assignments on him. Just let him rush the quarterback and get that sack, and maybe hopefully when he gets one, more will come along after that because he'll get his confidence back. I hope they don't run the same thing where they just have him engage a tackle and try to come out and spy or cover because, I mean, he just took himself out of that play.
Yep. All right, so this is the end of the Behind Enemy Lines segment because we are going to go ahead and take a look at the Chargers again. So we're going to cut this segment a little short because we're going right back into the film study, looking at the last time that we played the Chargers in week 1.
One nation, one nation.
Welcome to the Film Room, Raider Nation. In this segment, we're going to take a look back at some of the previous games or, of the opponent or the Raiders, depending on what player or what team we're playing. So just bear with us. But this segment, we're going to be breaking down the last game that we played the Chargers. Now, in the last game, I know, it didn't show it on the scoreboard, but it was, it was more of us shooting ourselves in the foot. You know what I mean? And we'll go over why. But if you go back and look at the numbers, both teams had 18 first downs. We rushed for 64 yards. They rushed for 76. We threw for 295. They threw for 279. The difference is the 3 interceptions Carr threw, the 6 sacks for negative 39 yards. But with the net yards was 256 to 279. Total yards 320 to 355. You know what I mean? So turnovers, though, is the big thing right there. Even the penalties we were low down on. Third down conversions, we were doing good. Fourth down conversions, 50%. Time of possession, we about had the ball about the same amount of time. So, all in all, we should have been able to compete in this game. But we shot ourselves in the foot with the 6 sacks and the 3 turnovers. And that's kind of what we're going to take a look at right now. Just look at what we need to do better. So is there anything you'd like to say about this last game, Oakland Raiders Savage?
Well, this was our first game of the season, right? Game number 1.
Yep.
Down in LA, yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of changes from game 1 to last week's game against the Seahawks, and one of the main ones was the offensive line.
Right.
With them, changing the left tackle, the right tackle, having a whole rotation, and then trying to figure out who the guards are going to be. We got rookies playing like Parham. This is his first game, his first professional NFL game. So a lot of changes happen. And then for us to go through that and still be close in this game, I mean, I think we have a better chance this week because we kind of have a little bit more stability on the line and more continuity. So, I mean, anything can happen. And I think we can beat this team.
Yeah, I think we have to beat this team. They beat us in our second home, so we cannot lose in our main home. We need to start protecting Vegas. You know what I mean? We're not all that great when it comes to winning in Las Vegas, but we can get better, and we should get better. Now, going into this game, the Chargers receive the ball and they march down the field and kick a 43-yard field goal. Then we get the ball, we march down the field as well into the red zone, of course, and we stall and we have to kick a 23-yard field goal. After that is when everything went to hell, right? Seemed kind of like neck and neck until then, and then Mac showed up. So the first possession for the Chargers, they go ahead and take the lead. And then our next possession is when Mac dominates on 3rd and 7. We'll take the look at the first sack that Mac had right here. He's up at the top of the screen. Illuminor really struggled in this game, and he fell victim to the bull rush. If you look at what Carr's looking at, what is he looking at? He looks, let's see, to the right first. So he's looking for Adams. You got Waller on the bottom. He's eyeballing Adams. Waller is open right there, but by that time, Mac's already on him. I mean, Carr had a split second right there, if you look, to get rid of the ball. But, I mean, Mac's already on him. That was pretty much Carr's only target, open target. But he waited too long and got sacked. So we can look at Mac right here. And Bosa's no slouch either, as we all know. But Colton pretty much, he did pretty well. You look at this. See, I mean, not bad. Not a bad pocket at first. But
you can see that Mac is establishing, he's hitting lower than Luminor, so he's establishing that momentum, and he's just pushing him back right into Carr.
Right. And so you'd like to see Carr step up right here, but look who's right there. Derwin James, who we've been talking about a little bit. Not only can he intercept the ball and cover some of the best receivers in the NFL, he can blitz too. And he got a sack in this game. So, I mean, Carr just has no shot right here.
Well, I think even like this play right here is a good example of the beginning of the season compared to throughout the season, the adjustments Carr has made. Because you notice that Carr started stepping up into the pocket and throwing darts, maybe game 3, game 4. This one, he's stepping back, hoping the pocket's forming. And you notice that as the games went along, Carr's starting to try to step up more. And, as he's getting ready to throw, just to get out of the rush of the ends. So Carr has made some adjustments too since this game also.
Well, not only that, but the line, right? Because as you look here, you got John Simpson and Lester Cotton, right, starting. And those guys, they're not starting anymore. So, Carr, is getting more comfortable because, first of all, the offensive line has only given up 4 sacks in the last 3 games, 1 in each of the last 2. So this offensive line is much improved, which allows him to feel more comfortable in the pocket.
Yes.
So that's a major thing, right? That major takeaway from the first game, week 1, this game, to the game coming up in week 13. So watch for that, Raider Nation. Expect our offensive line to play a lot better. Now that you still got Bosa, Mac, and James trying to attack the line of scrimmage, but Carr, as we've seen, is not afraid to stand up in the pocket. Let's see if he's able to move around a little bit more because our pocket is a little bit better built. So we'll just, that play, though, just was blown up with Mac's pure strength, and James was coming in anyways. Abdullah missed that block. Carr wanted a flag, did not get it. No big deal. We're used to that, right? So then we have to punt, and then the Chargers, they take it all the way again, though, to the 20. No, they're stopped at the 28. And this is when Herbert tried to do, let's see, the 4th down. Yeah, they went for it on 4th down, but Max Crosby stopped them. So again, Max is getting really good, at anticipating it. I thought I do have that right here. Let's take a look at that one. This play is really nice. Watch Max. He anticipated that the whole time, jumped the pocket or jumped the line and got in there and stopped him. Watch him. Watch him right here on the outside. He knew the whole time. He knew. Watch him creep up, snap, time the ball perfectly. Wow. He's in the air at the same time as Herbert. Max has to have a big game this game. Plays like that. So we have but this was false hope though. We felt like, all right, we got a little bit of hope. Trying to go into the game, but that just did not work out.
And that play right there, that's like what Baldinger calls him the condor.
The condor, yeah.
Kind of like the second coming of the Mad Stork.
Right.
The long arms. He was able to come up there, dive, and just do a Palomalu play and somehow hold him up in the air and take him down.
He did a great job. We need more of it. Unfortunately, though, the next possession was basically, a perfect example of how this game went. Mack gets a sack, and then Carr throws an interception in the next two plays. So we'll take a look at the second sack for Khalil Mack. You see him right here at the bottom. Stays with it, pushes through two guys, and gets the sack. You'll see it right here. Miller tries to get on. Bolden gets a chip, but that's it. Chip. Go. And Miller lost it. Miller, he didn't get it. So here we go. Looking at the rest of the line. Luminor is looking for Bosa. Misses a switch right there, right? James gets drug out of the play. Nope, look, they did a great switch. Boom, perfect. I mean, like I said, that was nice, but on the opposite side, they can't get it together, and Mac blows it up.
That looks like it could have been a coverage sack.
Yeah,
because he had decent time, but
let's go back.
You're not going to be able to hold Mac for that long.
Cover two man. Wait, no. Yeah, I guess that's cover two man. Box safety's just up a little bit. No, everybody's covered, man. See, he had nowhere to go.
It's a coverage sack.
That's a coverage sack. So, let's get to the next ones. After that play, the Chargers are able to score quickly, and then we go into halftime down 17-3. Our first possession of the ball. Let's see. Carr gets his first touchdown pass to Brandon Bolden for 18 yards. I think this is where he hits him in the flat. Oh, well, it's not necessarily the flat, but Bolden goes out here on the outside towards the flat. James got blown up. Carr moves up. Luckily, though, if you look right here, let's see. Where was it? Right there. Waller's the one that makes this play. See how he comes right here? He takes his guy, right, like almost like a little rub route. See that? That's what brought Bolden up here enough time to get around, if you see. You had enough time to get around him right there because of that little rub route. So we'll take a look at the pocket real quick. See, Illuminor. I think Illuminor's going to be all right. Gets him out, blocks him out there. Colton kind of loses some footing right there. James just cannot. I guess somebody stepped on him. Yep. Looks like Simpson stepped on him. And he ends up falling down. But look, this is a testament to Carr's poise in the pocket. This thing starts collapsing around him. He's still looking downfield. Steps up just enough to throw the ball on the run. Touchdown Raiders. Great play by Carr. Especially considering that he's getting his ass kicked in this game. That's what I mean. He's never scared.
Yeah, and he's staying in there, So we got a whole different offensive line, but during this version of the offensive line, he's still trying to stay in there and try to make any kind of play he can, holding that ball as long as he needs to, regardless if he knows he's about to get hit in the midsection or whatever. He's still staying in there strong, and he still gets back up for the next play. People forget that. Carr, he doesn't miss too many games, and I don't even know he probably besides the broken leg in 2016. he don't like missing games. He'll go out there, bust it up, beat up as long as he can stand. He'll stay. He'll come back and keep playing.
Bro, in his career, he's only missed like 4 or 5 games. 9
Yeah, and
years,
that
man.
yeah, I mean, and remember it's 2016 when he broke his leg,
Yeah.
getting twisted on that Christmas Eve game. I mean, besides from that game on for the rest of the season, he's been the starter. He's been the starter.
So
He
just
don't
as
he
we're
don't leave
pulling,
games.
yeah, he does not leave him. A lot of people want to see Mariota, but he wouldn't leave. He wanted to play. That's Carr. He's a great leader. All right, on the next play for the next possession for the Seahawks, they marched right down the field and scored a touchdown. To extend the lead to 24-10. And then we get our next possession. We move down the field, but we got to settle for the Carlson field goal. Again, Carlson, I know he missed the overtime kick, but he is good. This was a 55-yarder. He's really good at this. So I expect Carlson to have a great game. He's got to have a great game. I'm glad the game that he missed the field goal that we needed, we still won. So because you always he's perfect. He was perfect in that game up until that game, and they were talking about it, and then of course he misses it. Now that's out the way. No more jinx. All right, just get back to getting on track and kicking the ball right.
Yeah, and he was on a 43 made field goal streak.
Yeah.
He was close to getting the record. So he is consistent. He's consistent. He always makes them. When you're gonna miss one or two,
Right.
you're human, but
But
he's a very
the
reliable
team
kicker.
and the team had his back.
Yes.
So in the next possession, the Seahawks take it into the fourth quarter, but they got a punt. And then again, right when we're kind of like right there, we feel like, start of the fourth quarter, we need this. Another interception happens, and that's what killed us that whole game. So we'll take a look at this interception. The fourth quarter interception from Carr. Oh, yeah, this is the one where if you look right here, Adams is getting covered twice or double teamed. And Asante Samuel, he's up here on Renfro. But Asante, he's looking right in at Carr the whole time. He never bites on Renfro. And so as soon as Adams' hands goes up, Carr's looking to throw, and Samuels is breaking off right there. And he goes and he gets the ball. It was a good play by him. Bad throw by Carr. You know what I mean? So we'll take a look at the offensive line. See where we're at with the offensive line. Decent pocket. Still got plenty of time. Plenty of time. I mean, that wasn't that bad of a pocket. It was just a bad throw. Just a bad throw. But again, we keep talking about how the offensive line is going to be improved. So, Carr's going to have even more time, hopefully. And of course, McDaniel should make some adjustments to all this. So we should have a fair shot to win this game.
This is why I think, like 20 years ago when we had Gannon and Tim Brown and Jerry Rice and all the offensive linemen, Nick Kennedy, all those guys, they played preseason. They played a couple snaps in the first game, a couple snaps in the second game, a whole half in the third game to get themselves ready. I know a lot of players now, they cost more. They're more, they're assets now. But, I think that they should start playing some preseason games to get all those kinks out when it doesn't matter, instead of basically starting their season cold and, getting these close games. But that's just my personal opinion.
No, I'm right there with you, man. I wanted to see the team play in the preseason. They came out flat, because I believe because they didn't play in the preseason. And as the season went on, they started getting better. But then again, we lose a handful of games, when we had a 17-point lead, because they weren't in rhythm. There was no continuity. There was no chemistry. It was a whole new thing. So yes, it would have been beneficial for them to play in the playoffs. Look, Jacobs played, or the preseason. Jacobs played in the preseason, and look what kind of season he's having.
Yeah, and I know this is all hindsight, but having a whole new offense, whole new philosophy in offense and everything, I think would have been beneficial for them to start playing, as the starters on the preseason. Maybe would have had their offensive line combination set then, but that's hindsight. So it looks like we're getting better now that we got everything, at least there's more continuity on the offensive line, where everything starts off on the offensive line. So hopefully this game is just an example of us just still learning how this whole offense is supposed to go. And now at this stage of the season, we have a better hold on the playbook and able to make these plays that we were trying to make in game one.
Absolutely. We should be there. All right, so the following possession for the Chargers ends in a punt. And then, okay, yeah, we get the ball back, but 2 plays later, Carr throws his third interception this time to Renfro. Now, this one was kind of weird. The pocket's collapsing on him, and he wanted to hit Renfro, and it looks like that was the play design, right? Because look at Adams up there just standing right there. Either I know he's not waiting for the ball, right? But this is kind of where we're getting screwed. It would have been nice for something here different, Take them out a little bit. Take these 2 guys out, But this cornerback makes a great jump. He jumped the ball. I mean, it was a great play. Again, they're football players. They make plays too.
Yeah, they get paid too.
Yeah. So we'll look at the pocket real quick. Not bad. Considering the afternoon. But look, yeah, Carr's got a little bit of pressure. He's got Mac in his face, but I like how he tries to stand in there.
Also looks like he couldn't really step into that throw.
Right. Yeah,
he had to kind of throw that flat-footed because the tackle is right there, right on him. Yep. Mac's right there, right on him.
Yep. And then just a great cut on the ball, great jump on the ball, a little behind him. That's the other, and that to me is another testament that we should have played in the preseason, because Carr, he was been behind everybody this season, especially early on.
Yeah.
All right, so that interception resulted in a 49 field goal. That was a 49-yard attempt. The Chargers missed, so we still have some hope at this point in the game, but not much. But we've seen crazier things happen. Everybody remembers the Heidi Bowl. But, we get a little bit of false hope in the next possession. Carr attacks the goal line with Devontae Adams. Nothing much to look at. Just a good catch. Got in there. Good throw. Good catch. Too little, too late. But look at Simpson get pushed back that far. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad that the offensive line is looking a lot different.
Yeah.
Because Carr, admittedly, he does kind of get happy feet sometimes. But, a lot of quarterbacks do. Nobody wants to get hit. You know what I mean? But that pretty much does it for this segment, though. But, I know you got something you would like to say.
Well, regarding that, doesn't matter who you have at receiver or quarterback, if your line can't hold on and form that pocket and keep their blockers away from the quarterback, ain't no passes going to be made when your quarterback's always on his back. So, what the line has improved from now since then, we have different players playing in spots. We got Bars on the right, rookie Parham on the left, playing the guards, and we established Illuminor as the right tackle, and he's probably more comfortable now knowing he's not going to be rotated in and out. We have a good chance to beat these guys, and maybe even you're not going to stop Mac, but at least contain him enough for us to make plays and not have him disrupt so many plays and get, how the Chargers had 6 sacks. So I'm hoping that now with the better offensive line play and continuity, that the sack total, if it's not 0, it's a low number, and we can start moving the ball, because we've been scoring. We scored 40 points against the Seahawks, and that's not a bad defense either. We was able to score points against the Broncos. We had the highest scoring points from both games against the Broncos defense, and the Broncos defense is up in the top 5. So we can go against defenses. Now we're playing a little bit more consistent. So I feel that we have a way better chance against this depleted by injury team, the Chargers. So we should go into this game positive.
And if you look at their defensive statistics, they've given up 8 games that they've given up over 100. And let's see, the lowest one right here is 137. So 8 games they've given up over 131 yards.
That's Jacob's average.
And then so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last 5 games they've given up over 157 yards. And so
that's around Jacob's average.
But expect the Chargers to try to prevent that, which is what gives me the idea that because they're gonna double Adams and they're gonna try to prevent the run. So that's what leading me to say that Hollins is going to be the X factor in this one. Hollins is capable of having a big game. He had 158 yards. Let's see, 1 touchdown against the Titans. And over the last few games, he's catching 66.7% of his catches with over 50 yards per game. So I expect him to have a breakout game right here, especially with the Chargers trying to stop the run and blank out Adams. They're going to challenge Moreau and Hollins to step up and play well in this game.
Yeah, and like you're saying, Hollins, the X factor, because no one's really paying attention to him too much. He's had some good games this season, like you said earlier. The Titans, he broke out in that game too against the Titans. But the only main playmaker we have besides, well, of course, Jacobs as a running back, but besides Adams, I mean, Adams is the only playmaker as a receivers. So I'm, a lot of these guys like a Foster Moreau and a Hollins can find themselves in single coverage and find themselves open. But both of them can have big games. I think Carr should start building up on the last game with Foster Moreau and start trying to go to him early to get his confidence early and continue that, continue with him if Waller's not playing, if Waller's not getting brought back for this game.
All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at our injury report so we can find out who is and who may not be playing in this game. And here we go with the last segment of the day, the injury report. We are on Raiders.com to take a look at the injury report. So let's take a look, right? I watched the Chargers coach's press conference last night. They were, talking about a lot of key guys being out and injured. So they're just as banged up as we are. So we'll see. Like right now, it looks like throughout the week, Andrew Billings, who I think is going to have another big game, we need him to be able to push that pocket. You know what I mean? We need him to keep doing that. He has a fibula injury. He was limited practice all week, listed as questionable, which means he's probably going to play. Bolden, who's not much of a factor right now, limited practice all week, listed as questionable. And then, of course, these little negative signs are that means they are not listed. And three guys, Darren Butler, Derek Carr, Darren Harmon. Butler dealing with the elbow, Carr with his back, as you said earlier, and Harmon with the shoulder. Full participants all week long. Horsted, the tight end, had a concussion, did not partake, and he is out for the week. Josh Jacobs has that calf injury, limited practice, listed as questionable, so we will see Josh Jacobs.
He's playing.
Yeah. Colton Miller with the shoulder, limited practice, full practice, so he's playing. Vickers, non-factor, dealing with the back issue, limited, did not partake, he is out. Alex Bars with the knee, full practice the last 2 days, not listed. Lester Cotton with the calf, full practice, limited practice, questionable. And then Perryman with his wrist is questionable, limited practice on Thursday and Friday. I guarantee you Perryman will be playing. What concerns you most about our team in their injury report?
Well, I was hoping to see, I think Nate, forgetting his name.
Nate Hobbs.
Nate Hobbs is coming in. He should be back this game. So we'll have another, one of our top defenders back there in the backfield. I mean, I think probably the only concern would be Josh Jacobs, but he played through it last game. He's not going to sit this game out, especially with a division rival like this.
Yeah.
He's not going to sit this one out. I think that's probably like the only main concern out of all the playmakers. Carr's been playing throughout his back injury throughout the whole season. He's not getting hit as much, so he's going to play. So probably just the only thing would be just Josh Jacobs, but if he's still limited in practice, he's still out there trying. He ain't gonna miss this game.
Nah. And as far as Hobbs, I believe Coach McDaniel said that he would have played last week, but he didn't want to put him in the game without having a week of practice. So if he's not on this list, I would assume that he practiced and he's gonna play. So because we do need Hobbs back for sure.
Yes.
So as we take a look at the Chargers injury report, Nasir, who was listed as questionable, but I know that their coach said he will play. Bryce Callahan, Michael Davis, and Derwin James, all not listed, full participants dealing with a groin, knee, and a hip. Now, the one thing I would say is the only thing we could hope for is that this hip injury is slowing Derwin down at the very least, right? We need him slowed down. And then their center is dealing with a concussion. He's out, so they're gonna be missing their starting center. Khalil Mack, non-injury related, so he was just resting. Kenneth Murray, full participant. I expect to see him. Trey Pipkins out, so two of their linemen are out. Another one of their linemen is dealing with a knee. He was a full participant, so we'll see what happens with there. Now, Mike Williams, I know that the Locked On Chargers podcast was really talking about him coming on strong, so we're kind of fortunate not to have to see him this week. He is out. And then Drew Tranquil, who I believe he's the guy that got that interception, right? I don't know. I believe he is. He's listed as questionable. And then their defensive tackle is listed as questionable. So they're struggling just as we are. You know, there's not a whole lot to say about this except the offensive line hurting, right? What is your take on this?
Well, I thought I also heard that Bosa might be out of this game.
Oh yeah, that's correct. Yeah, Bosa is still dealing with his injuries, so he may not be playing in this game. Good call.
Yeah. So now, I mean, it helps us out because we don't have the two bookends like we did in the first game of the season when you have Bosa on one end and Mac on the other. So now we can concentrate more on keeping Mac at bay with maybe a running back chipping off or the tight end chipping off on him, or just at least being there to help double team for whatever side he's on. So, hopefully that right there helps us out to at least neutralize Mac as best as we could, and not have to worry about another, a top pass rusher to come in on the other side and take down Carr.
Right. And so, that's this week's injury report. We don't need to spend a lot of time doing this. So let's go on and get to the outro.
Oakland.
So that does it for this week on Sideline to Sideline with Raider Homer and Oakland Raider Savage. We hope that you enjoyed the episode. So there's, big game coming up. If we win this game, we can move up to 5-7, hurt the Chargers a little bit in their playoff run. I'd love to see that. This year we can play spoilers, right, for the rest of the year. And hopefully, we spoil everything for everybody. So with all that being said, give us your final thoughts.
I mean, we're not mathematically out of the playoff race, even though it's kind of up in the air right now. But if we can just keep going one game at a time, take advantage of these teams that are down, whether due to injury or just lack of talent, we can, being spoilers, we might be able to sneak in. We're not saying playoffs because we know it's a long shot, but let's just keep that momentum, keep playing as if there's something to play for. I mean, there's always something to play for with pride, but at least we just got to keep going, keep pushing. Jacob's on a good run. I can see him having a big game. I can see Devontae Adams because in the beginning of this first game, he went off on that first game, on that first half. So we have a lot of options, and we're starting to score more points. So I think that we just continue with this momentum, continue with this, we're never counted out. We can do some damage the rest of the season, and we could take this game and have another division win, and maybe, at least climb up the division, end the season at second place. You never know.
Well, yeah, this is definitely going to be a different game. Our offensive line has only given up 4 sacks in the last 3 games, as opposed to giving up 6 sacks the first game versus the Chargers. And now that we just mentioned that Bosa won't be there, I expect the offensive line to play much, much better, which gives Carr the ability to not make so many mistakes. And then, yes, the fact that, their run defense, the Chargers' run defense is just not good at all. We need our offensive line to continue to play strong as they have the last few games. And if we can control, the clock, just like in any football game, that's a recipe for winning, but especially when you have a quarterback like Herbert in a division game. And, this team should definitely keep playing because Mark Davis already said Josh McDaniels is not going anywhere. They just re-signed Derek Carr. Doubt he's going anywhere. They got Adams for 3 years. They got Max for 3 years. You know, I'm pretty sure they'll find a way to get Josh Jacobs if they don't just franchise tag him. So this is important. It's important that we continue to play together and play well and get better. That way next year we're not dealing with all this, because we should be a playoff team this year. And yet we've had one of the worst seasons that we've ever seen as fans, with considering all the hype. And we, like you say, we're still mathematically in. So, hey, you know, it'd be nice to go on a nice little hot streak and maybe leave the end the season at 10-7 or 9-6. You know, let's do it, Raider Nation. Let's do it, Raiders. And you know, just keep your head up. You know, keep your head up, Raider Nation. So let's go ahead and get our predictions, right? So we're just talking about all this. It could be a tough game. What do you think? What's your prediction?
Well, against the Seattle team last week, you know, our defense gave up 34 points. 34 points. I think if we clean up with Nate Hobbs coming back, you know, I can see a 30-21 Raiders victory.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be a tough game. You know, you're not going to keep the Chargers from scoring. You know, so I would assume that they're going to score at least 3 touchdowns. So our defense is kind of a bend but don't break. Our offense is on fire though. So if Holland shows up like the X factor that I think he will, I think that we will definitely win this game. I think it'll be more around like 28, 21, 24, 20, something like that. You know, it's still going to be a close game. They got a lot of defensive playmakers. Our playmakers are starting to show up. They got offensive playmakers. We got offensive playmakers. It should be a great game, but I'm going to take the Raiders, you know, by a touchdown. 28, I'll say 28-21. So, all right. Well, cool. That does it. That does it for this episode of Sideline to Sideline. Please follow us on social media at Oakland Raider Savage and at Homer Raider on Twitter, and on Facebook at Raider Homer and at Oakland Raider Savage. Sideline to Sideline, signing off, Raider Nation. Have a good weekend.
Oh, yeah.